Let's just have a quick chat about what's happening with Russell Brand at the moment. Now, I can't say that I know every detail because I don't, but I've heard snippets everywhere, and I have watched a video that Russell made, where he's being emphatic about denying these allegations that have exploded. Look at this blind dog. Sweetheart, come on, let's go. So, what do I think about it? Well, let's bear in mind a few things that happen with regards to people that have been sexually assaulted as children, as young women or young men, or even as adults. And let's think about how they get treated, why they might delay coming forward. Let's think about some of the really silly comments that we're seeing about Russell Brand, because we know he's got an absolutely ginormous fan base. I'm just going to pause you and put this dog onto a lead so that he doesn't get freaked out. Hold on. A lot of Russell's rabid fans, and that there seems to be a lot of hero worshippers amongst them, a lot of conspiracy theorists. Feels like sometimes a lot of men that just want to be him. They think that he has an amazing turn of phrase, stream of consciousness. They think that he's a very forward thinker, and they think that he's been flying too close to the sun. Russell's been getting too close to the truth. He's going to expose too many truths, and he has to be taken down. And of course, how people get taken down is that they are ruined. Allegations are made, their careers are left in tatters. And so now the people behind the the world's evil, can just keep carrying on. I mean, that view is so puerile, so childish, so ridiculous. You see these comments all the time. Keep going, Russell, don't let them get you. Or, we've said they were coming for you for years. We've warned you to be careful, to look out. Or, take precautions. You're in danger because you're speaking up. You're speaking the truth, the only truth. No. He has got millions of followers. That's true. But it doesn't mean that he couldn't be what these conspiracy theorists would call controlled opposition or a gatekeeper or some such. Who knows? I mean, Russell's definitely liked to propagate this checkered past and this Pied Piper persona. So people, when they come forward, yes, it is normal for people to wait years, to wait decades, to wait scores of time before they are able to speak up. Why? Fear, shame, the concern that they are going to be ostracized, that they will no longer be able to be in their friend group, that their family will shame them, and they think that they may ruin their own career or that their family will reject them, or all sorts of things. And when it comes to people that were abused as children, as minors, I think the median age, it might be 48 years old, average age is 52 years old, the age that I am now, that people finally feel strong enough to speak up about what happened to them and know that it's not them that are the ones to be ashamed. They know that they are survivors of abuse and they feel like survivors. They don't feel like victims, or they don't feel any longer like, oh, it must have been something that they did, something weak in them, something that they brought upon themselves. Now, one of Russell's accusers, because they are accusers at this stage, and I hope that this goes through the legal process, and I hope that there is a legal outcome that is just, no matter which way everything falls. One of his accusers was 16 at the time of what she calls her offences, and Russell was 30 or so. Now, she might have been legally able to engage in sexual intercourse, but is this right? Do you think anything about that power imbalance? Russell Crowe, who by 30 was already successful, and this child of 16. Now, some people at 16, they feel quite sophisticated. Women are also curious at that age. They're exploring their sexuality. A lot of women, if they're not feeling really unsettled by their bodies, or as if their bodies might be inadequate to attract the opposite sex, they might even be noticing that they have an effect on boys and men, and they might be exploring that and enjoying that. Does that mean that they want to be sexually abused by a man twice their age? Coerced, groomed? No. I think this 16-year-old was a young woman who was picked up by a BBC vehicle, a BBC chauffeur-driven vehicle, and taken to Russell Brand's house. And I think the allegations are that, yeah, she was really groomed into, spending this time with Russell Brand and going to his home. He's very lecherous. He is trying to also tell us that promiscuity isn't being an abuser. No, promiscuity is just promiscuity, and hopefully, it's something that involves consenting parties of any number. But promiscuity doesn't mean forcing yourself on someone. It doesn't mean grooming someone. It doesn't mean sexual abuse. It just means that you want to have a lot of sexual partners, maybe because you have a high sex drive, maybe because of some sort of emotional damage you've had, maybe because of, some abuse you had in childhood, and that's how you value yourself through others, is to be sexual with them. Who knows? We know that there are so many variables, okay? Russell is going to try and blame his drug addiction, perhaps. There's a lady that talks about how he was abusive to her, went through the program. She went through the program. He actually paid for her rehab, and then he apologized to her. But, whether or not he wants to make amends now, maybe he feels differently about women because he has girls of his own, daughters. It's irrelevant. And it doesn't matter how historic these claims are. If they are true, rape is rape, assault is assault, grooming is grooming, and we should let legality take its course. I know he's going to have trial by media, and many people are going to be sticking up for him. He's not being hunted because he's too close to the bone, okay? because he's frightened the elites. He is elite. He's an extremely privileged man. And if he is guilty of these... Bubby, let's go. Come on, darling. If he's guilty of these allegations, he needs to be held to account. And if he loses his career over it, so be it. There's a video on YouTube, and it's of live TV. Come on, bub. And Russell is making an appearance, and he's on a couch, and then he has these two very young children brought out, and he's saying, "Children, trust Russell. People, trust Russell Brand with your children." And he's grabbing these kids onto his lap. He's saying, oh, they're a friend's children. It's all very strange. It's manic, as is everything that Russell Brand does. He's got the boy on his left knee, the girl to his right, and he's got his right arm wrapped entirely around this little girl. She might be about 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not quite sure, maybe about 5. And his hand, his huge hand, is sitting not just on her arm, not on her shoulder, not just to the side on the couch, as would be actually acceptable, but wrapped right around her body so that his long fingers are completely over the right side of her chest, and he is stimulating this young girl's nipple. Now, you might think this is gross of me to say. I've watched this many times. It happens. You can see the fear and disgust in her face, and then she elbows his arm away so that his hand has to move. The TV host is uncomfortable, and I can't remember what she says, but she wants the children to leave the set. She says that's quite enough. And it's despicable behaviour. And yeah, it is what people say. Hiding in plain sight. You know, now there's lots of different sides to conspiracy theories, right? So, you know, some will say, he was doing this outrageous act to show his compliance to the Illuminati. You know, maybe he's just a creep. Maybe he was just flaunting what he could get away with, but it was utterly repulsive. Most children that are abused are under 3 years old. Did you know that? They're under 3. I wonder why this is. They're non-verbal mostly. They can't speak up. They can't explain eloquently and convincingly about what's happening to them. All they can do is change their behaviour, maybe act out, become violent, become sulky, become mute, become bullies, become withdrawn, because they can't say, there are no words. And especially if their parents keep inviting this person into their company. And we all know that there are parents that let children pretty much be put forth as offerings. But the statistics will be very similar for people that are young adults and are abused. As to when they come forward, as it would be for children under 16. It takes a long time. People need to realise this. And to say that this is so invalid now, that this is clearly lies, that this is clearly a campaign to destroy someone, that you shouldn't just leap to that conclusion. Yes, maybe we shouldn't be calling them survivors right now, or victims of Russell Brand because nothing has been put through a court of law. But I don't think we should let Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and their situation and a lot of other things we hear about, maybe Ward versus Manson, for example, we shouldn't let that colour us. This is a completely separate incident, just like it is with everyone else who has gone through abuse, situations that were dangerous. And yeah, we need to let it play out, but do we need to say that this is, you know, a coordinated effort to bring down Russell Brand because he's just too close to the truth? I mean, that's repulsive. It's insulting to the women who are real victims. You know, I'm not sure how I stand on the Me Too movement or the Believe All Woman movement, because we all know people lie or they exaggerate. But at the same time, that not being believed issue, that's why a lot of people don't come forward. Not until they are strong as middle-aged people who've been through trials and tribulations in life and then maybe learned that they are okay, that they do have strength, you know. Anyway, what a ramble, but I just wanted to say that we can all see that he's not only a philanderer, he's not only promiscuous, he is lecherous, he gropes in public, grown women, and, as I have seen with my own eyes, young children. And I think men who are making those decisions, you know, what sort of judgment is that? That comes from someone's core where they don't have morals that align with the human values that we all want to have expressed through all citizens so that we can live in a safe society, each to their own and all that. But that's not what it's about. It's about safety and all being in agreement and where some boundaries are. There are things that adults can do consensually, of course, but to be lecherous and to grope in public, it's not just something he put on, that's really him. It's like he had, he was very out of control. He didn't have control over it, and it was compulsive, and it sort of ruled him and owned him in a way. And I don't think that he stopped just because he was suddenly behind some closed doors. If you're going to do certain things in public and show such a lack of taste, respect and judgment, then, yeah, what do we think would happen behind closed doors with people when there's a huge power imbalance? A successful 30-year-old man with a public profile and the BBC at his beck and call, looking after him with chauffeurs, knowing that they're going to pick up a young girl and drop her to his home. That's power. I've waffled on long enough. Take care. See you later.